Hello. And welcome to, finally, you got here, the final countdown Splurge. This isn't the last live session, and I just have to say I'm terribly sorry once again about the issue with the link. This time, believe it or not, it wasn't my mistake, although it was, I think, as a result of my mistake last time. So in Ecamm Live, you can set it to go, the stream to go to a particular place, and I had it at the right stream. Said the final countdown Splurge at the bottom of my screen. I checked it given last time, and what happened was that it streamed to the stream that we missed last time, that location, but it thought it was streaming to the final countdown Splurge location, and I couldn't start the stream to the right place because it thought it was going to the right place. So then I deleted the stream I thought it was going to, but then because it thought it was on the right place, it deleted the wrong one. Right. So now, so then I had to do exactly the same things we did the last time, which explains why you had issues in getting here again. So I do apologize about that. Yeah, that rarely happens, but now I know that's what happens if you stream to the wrong place. You need to sort out your streams in YouTube, because I think it just does it in order. In Ecamm, it doesn't do it by name or anything. Anyway, after that, how are you, Luke? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Excited to see some more splurges and talk to some splurgers.
Fantastic. I think Arash is going to turn up at some point. He may not. It depends. He's got a few sort of personal things going on which he needs to sort out. But if not, you've got the two Baldies. Yeah. And what we are going to do today is the feed dodgy. What we are going to do today is the so secret, the world tells you it's wrong method, which literally every successful artist I know uses, to discover where the biggest breakthroughs are in your music making, and how ignoring most people, and often your own thoughts, to double down on your splurge practice will deliver results your friends will shake their heads in wonder at. And don't forget, one person is going to have to start making faces like this when they win this mode. So get ready to make those faces. And about the competition, and I see now that the screen has slightly changed. Let me just do this. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Right, about the competition. Please don't send me your splurges yet. Please don't. On the site where you get the content on day 11, and in the day 11 live stream, because there is a day 11 live stream, there's another live stream happening, I will give you clear instructions on how to send your ideas to us. And you are sending the audio files, you won't be sending the project files, and it would be ideal if they could be MP3s, but don't send them yet. I will give you instructions on day 11. Why am I not telling you how to do this yet? Because it ensures that you actually do the program, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to do loads of splurges on day 1. Right, now I'm going to send them. That's not doing the program, right? So don't send me your splurges yet. And all instructions for the new splurge are also on the coaching site. And I've actually copied and pasted now the link in the description, but you may need to refresh if you got here before I did that, because this is a new stream. Plus, I'm splurging after this on my Mike Mundaly channel. Again, link will be in the description for that particular thing. And I'm going to be splurging slightly differently on that channel this time as a result of what we're going to learn today. Plus, we're adding a bonus session after the challenge is over. You lucky, lucky people. Which is how and why to finish your ideas. And it's going to be like a sort of... No, that's the wrong one. Party, a finishing party, because we're going to have finished our idea explosion challenge. So I'm going to help you kind of move forward with some of your ideas, and that's going to be on Monday, January the 18th, or January the 19th, if you're over this on this end of the planet. Same time as this session, and I will post a link to where the stream will be, and I will ensure that it is actually at that link. Okay, right. So it's basically the same time on this coming Monday, and in that you're going to get a roadmap of the creative process, and you're going to discover the errors which common sense tell you to do, but which damage your process and destroy your ideas. Honestly, common sense when it comes to the creative process, and this is the right thing to do and that's the wrong thing to do, is to be ignored in most cases. Yeah, common sense doesn't make sense. Yeah, just because of the way the human mind works in relation to the creative process. Would you say that's true, Luke? What common sense tells you what to do in general in the creative process, anyway, is highly questionable.
Yeah, it's pretty backwards.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, Luke? Am I looking into the camera now or now? Because I've got
now, not now.
No, because
now.
I think it's different for you and me. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm just going to go and look at it sort of in between the two cameras that have a light on. So find out why the biggest opportunity for a music producer I have ever witnessed, literally, is right now. I know that seems crazy, doesn't it? Again, common sense would tell you that what I've just said is crazy. That the biggest opportunity for a music producer that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime is right now. I mean, what? The music industry is in tatters. How can that be? Yeah. I promise you that I am sure that I have never been in a situation where there's been a bigger opportunity for a music producer, if you want to be independent, right? If and only if you can make great music consistently. I mean, I believe it so strongly that it actually forced me to make music again. And then since the pandemic hit, the launching a new artist project and releasing at least a track a week in 2021 is as a result of this of believing this. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, basically. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds completely nuts, but I'm doing it, and that's why. because I've never been in a situation, and I doubt I ever will again, where there's been such a big opportunity. It's like one of those once in a lifetime things, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, and you'll find out why I believe that. You don't have to believe it yourself if you don't want to, but I will state my case. But also mainly we'll be focused on how to finish your ideas, because some people don't want to, make music their life in that sense, which is absolutely fine. You just want it to be a side hustle which you enjoy. That's totally cool too. Anyway, hit like and click the remind bell to make sure you don't miss it. And I promise I will do everything in my power to make sure you don't miss it by giving you the right link. And don't forget, before that, there's another session in 3 days. 3 days this time, not 2, because we're giving you 3 days for the final countdown splurge to really get some, a head of steam up. Yeah. And in that next session, which is the same time on the 15th of January, 16th if you're on the bottom end of the world, why the way that you listen is as important as how you make music. The way that you listen to music is as important as how you make that music, because that's how you come to a decision about what to do next, obviously. Who was it? I think it was Philip Glass, the composer, said music is listening. Music is listening. Okay. The other thing you're going to learn is how to win the race against boredom, because finishing a piece of music is often, I kind of describe it as being a race against kind of boredom. and how to keep the vibe alive on a track for as long as it needs. I mean, I'm now in a situation where, I mean, I say the music making process is a race against boredom, but I'm kind of, I feel that I'm now in a situation where I don't need to worry about that because I know what to do in order to avoid it. I know what I need to do. A track can take as long as it takes. Yeah. I work quickly, but sometimes no matter how quickly I work, a track just needs a bit more time. That's fine. Yeah. And then the 3 distinct approaches you must take to make the very best music you can, and when and how to take them. So, you know, I'm not going to be giving you a new splurge next time, but really the most important part of this is the listening session. And this session in 3 days is going to be about how to listen. If you don't do any of the other things, learn how to listen. Trust me, it makes such a massive difference. But first, let's review. Let's just find out how many splurges you've done. Type in the chat. Type in the chat. How many splurges have you done? Have you been splurging a lot, Luke, during this time?
Yeah, I've been doing probably like between 1 and 3 every day. Okay. Good amount.
Cool. Yeah, I've been, it's hard to say really with me because some of them have been kind of more than one track. So Consciousness Productions says 21. Here we go. Loads of them. Yaniv. Hello, Yaniv. 27. Justin. 23. Now. Mr. Woot. 30 plus. Muff. Oh, Muff. That's amazing. 110? Crazy. Sid Just. 8. Billy Scribble. And the Foreign Bodies. 10-ish, I guess, that's what it means. 21 from Anders. Claire up around 30. Kevin 37. B Mono 32. 8 Wales 20 to 30. Shahar 25 today. 25 today or 25 as of today. Who knows? Robin at least 10. Super Armando 7. Maxi Mike almost 20. Need to catch up so much. What does catch up mean? Catch up with who exactly? Catch up with yourself, or catch up with the expectations you had before you started? Either of those, I would say you don't need to worry about too much. It would probably be worth, I mean, I'm not saying don't do more, definitely, but just don't beat yourself up and do what you can, okay? You are where you are, and where you are is good. So it seems that people are making significant amounts of progress, which is fantastic. So let's find out. How does the last 8 days compare to your progress in December? And I do know December is a bit of a weird month. So how does the last 8 days compare to your progress in December? Post in the chat. How does last 8 days since you've been splurging compare to your progress in December in terms of music? My last 8 days has been insane. It's like,
yeah, it sounds like you're on the best 8 days ever.
You're literally the best 8 days ever. It's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like things have just exploded. Right, okay. Let's have a look. Okay, Mr. Witt. Let's say better at least than the last 8 months. Suggest. I may have put down one idea in December. Okay. Ponder. Amazing. Evelina, from 0 to 100. Justin, amazing compared. I didn't touch my door at all in December. David, started maybe 2 tracks in December. Lie Society, a 110% increase. Brilliant. Silverbeat, way more idea generation by far. Kevin, December I finished a lot of music. January I started a lot. Good. Muff, I worked on maybe 4 tracks in December. B Mono doesn't even come close. Different life altogether. Mirrorfly, 0 progress in December, 1,000,000% progress in the last 8 days. 1,000,000%. Wow. Yeah. Reverb8, so much creativity flowing this last 8 days. Honda did nothing in December. Mike, chalk and cheese. Cryptoso, 700%. As you can see, I mean, I could go on. It goes on. You know, there's lots. Yeah. Oh, I've got to see there. Spencer, 500% increase in productivity, maybe 1,000. I love reading these out. It just makes me so happy to see people kind of getting into momentum right at the start of the year. Now, of course, like speaking to Kevin's very good point, which is this one. December, I finished a lot of music. January, I started a lot. Of course, this is about finishing music at the end of the day. But the way that my approach focuses on is about actually modularizing your process. It's about separating out the various different things that we do in lots of different ways. So we separate out the judgment from the creation. We also separate, so that's almost like what you do in the moment. We also separate out, as you will find out on day 11, there are different approaches that you use at different stages of the creative process. And often if people say, I don't have a problem starting ideas, I just have a problem finishing them, usually I've found they do actually have a problem starting ideas as well, which needs to be addressed in order for them to be able to finish them. So I do recognize this is about starting ideas, but there is method to this madness. And the more ideas that you start consistently that you will never finish, the easier you will find it and the quicker you will find it to finish. I mean, how do you think that works, Luke? Like you know about this as well. You've experienced this too. Because I do say, even in the Leap, where we're getting people to finish a music project of their choosing. Some people are finishing albums, some people are finishing EPs. It kind of depends on where you're at. But when people are finishing their music, I do say, even at the end when they're on deadline, because I set this hard deadline, I say you've got to keep splurging every day, and because it makes it easier and quicker to finish. You feel like you're wasting time not finishing. Yeah, your thinking mind is saying, I just need to be focused on finishing these tracks. But you just do a splurge, just do a couple of splurges, and it becomes easier to finish the tracks you are working on. So you actually finish quicker, yeah, and better, more effectively. Why is that, do you think?
I think it's similar to the reason why, if a soccer player, or as you might say, football player, lifting weights isn't practicing the thing they're trying to get good at, but it improves their game and makes them better at the thing that they're trying to do. So it's kind of like an exercise for the muscles that you're using within the finishing process, right? So you're learning how to be creative quickly and just turn on that idea generation thing that says yes versus that part of you that's always saying no, right? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So engaging with the yes muscle, right? The let go muscle, the opening up muscle, allows you to, on that same day. So let's say you start the day with a couple of splurges, and then you get on with finishing the music that you're on deadline for. Yeah, it sort of reconnects you with that form of creativity, which then goes on to help you not second guess yourself when you're finishing. Therefore, you actually, the time that you invest in splurging, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, actually saves you hours in the finishing. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But I've made the mistake time and again of not splurging because I feel so under pressure to finish this. I just got to focus on this. And reliably, it means the wheels come off. So then I do a quick splurge, and then everything becomes clear again. So yeah. So coming back to the questions, what's the reason, you think, for this progress? What's the reason for the progress that you've experienced? There's probably a number of different reasons, but let's have a think about what the reasons are for the progress that you've experienced over the last 8 days. I mean, in terms of my progress, I think the main, well, it's not really the reason, but it's the enabler. Enabler is a bad word, isn't it? But anyway, in a good way. So is me getting this for Christmas, the sub harmonicon, which it's almost like all of the puzzle pieces finally fell into place. And I'm not kind of just, I'm not saying a piece of gear was the thing, because it's almost like everything, that piece of gear wouldn't work had I not been going in the direction I was going. It's almost like it was what I was doing before that allowed that piece of gear to do what it has done, if you like. So for me, the reason for the progress that I've made is all of the things that I've been doing in the last year to kind of develop my style, the splurging, basically. That's the reason for my progress. So let's have a look here. Okay. Little Wing. It also feels like less pressure when you know so many more ideas are coming because you'll be open to them. It puts less pressure on finishing a specific, on finishing a specific idea, which makes it easier to finish. Absolutely. That is huge. Yeah. Consciousness, production, separating the creator from the editor mindset. Brilliant. Mirrorfly, momentum. Yeah, I mean, momentum builds on itself. So if you find yourself getting stuck, yeah, momentum is its own force. Yeah, once you've started a rock like rolling down a hill, it kind of keeps going on its own. And the same is true of the creative process. If you're kind of struggling to get going, then just make a bunch of crap for a while. It's fine, because the momentum will then perpetuate. Yeah. So instead of, you're just putting up obstacles to pushing that rock down the hill. Yeah. Brian, absolutely. Focusing on it. Yeah. Getting the editor, Lie Society, getting the editor critic out of the way. Claire, shutting the quality meter factory down. Brilliant. Knife, to get used to the momentum. Brilliant. Leroy, different approach to the way I create. Physics, just forcing myself to get my hands dirty. Yeah, you got to get your hands dirty. You got to sort through the mud. Yeah. For fans of Wet Circles, I fired my inner critic. Yes. Certainly in the creative process. Yeah. Billy, cutting the self-doubt out of the process. Interesting. Andy, keeping going. Spencer, not editing, not listening back. Yeah. Jacob, the letting go aspect is huge. I'd hang on to so many tracks before. Now the pressure feels almost non-existent and I just throw paint on walls. Brilliant. So yeah, it's amazing what happens when you let go of the need for everything that you do to be brilliant. So what can you improve in your final 3 days of the challenge? What do you think you can improve in the final 3 days of the challenge? And you will get a black mark if you say quality. Because we can always do that, right? So really, I guess the question is, what can you improve about your splurging in the final 3 days of the challenge? I'm just going to read a few more of these, some good ones here. Okay, brilliant. Be quiet says speed. Yes, well, you're going to love the final countdown splurge then, which is coming. Amount of ideas, which is another version of speed, I guess, Rob. Spencer says, let go even more. Brilliant. Billy, speed, focus, confidence. Maxim Mike, speed. MDA09JA, still need to go faster. B mono, loosen up and relax a bit more. Yeah, we've got speed, 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 speed. Okay, well, you're really, really gonna love the final countdown splurge, because we're really, really gonna turn the heat up. But first, I need to ask you a question. What is the universal feature of every great composer and music producer in history? I did almost put almost every, but I'm just going to say every, because I think actually it probably is every if you were able to see what they did behind closed doors. So, what is the universal feature of every great composer and music producer in history? I think the stream might be on a slightly slower latency at this
Yeah, I think
time.
it's like
Yeah.
probably 15, 20 seconds, maybe
Yeah.
30.
Anyway, but it's okay. We'll just have to live with it. Daniel says. Daniel says. No, sorry. Oh God, it keeps moving. Sorry. Daniel says German. Yeah. Well, okay. Fair. I can see. I can see where. I can see where you're coming from. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. Very great. Yaniv, curiosity. Love it. The Zucchera, huge quantity. Absolutely.
Sid just wins. Baldness.
Jacob, consistency. A, yep, they're human. We think so anyway. Don't know how much longer that'll last though. We'll see, won't we? About AI produced music. Being prolific. Yeah. Actually doing it. Being unique. Yeah, but I think that's actually a result of being prolific, isn't it? Life society, insanity. No, I don't think that's true. Creating. Yes. They have finished and often released an eye-watering amount of work. You test this yourself and go to the Spotify profile of your favorite legendary artist. I'm not talking about, the latest one-hit wonder who you might like their latest thing. I'm talking about your favorite legendary artist, and count the number of pieces of music that they have released. Bearing in mind that this won't include what they haven't released. Yeah, you will find that it's ridiculous. It's like that. Yeah. I mean, in my last 17-year career, I released around 350 like individual. It's hard to say what they were exactly. Some of them were EPs, some of them were remixes, some of them were albums, some of them were tracks. So, but it was around 350 pieces of music. Now, they're not all on my Spotify profile because I was an independent producer releasing things on vinyl, and a lot of it never made it onto Spotify. So don't go on Spotify, but just go and have a look in if you want on Discogs, and look me up, and you'll see a lot of them there. And in order to do that amount of music, and to be honest with you, I only really did that in the last. Well, there was a few bits before that, but in the last 10 years of that career, I did. I had. It took me a while. It took me a while to understand what I was doing wrong. It was about 6 years in that I figured out that I just needed to get really, really prolific. But yeah, so that was in my previous career, and just before this call, just before this session, I was speaking to Luke, and we were talking about the possibility of me releasing an album a day. Now, I doubt I will do that. That's obviously a bit of a joke, but it is getting absurd right now. Now, obviously, releasing an album a day would be different. I'm not sure I would release an album a day, but finishing an album a day might be something that you could do, depending on how you did it. So, here's an interesting question, right? Because, like, people know this, that the greatest are prolific, right? But people seem to have this, they don't understand, or maybe they don't think about this, right? An essential question to ask yourself is, did they finish and release this volume of music because they are great, or are they great because they finished and released this volume of music? Because when you think about it, the assumption is, and maybe your assumption is, is that they finished that amount of music because they're great. But doesn't it seem more likely that it's the other way around? I mean, maybe it's a bit of both, but that possibly seems like it might be the other way around. Yeah. There's a hint in various different people's kind of biographies. Aphex Twin, one of my favorite artists. The album that really exploded him into life wasn't called Ambient Works, whatever the years are, I can never remember, right? It was called Selected Ambient Works, right? So he made a bunch of work and then he selected some of it. It wasn't called Created Ambient Works, and these are the only ambient works I've created. It was Selected Ambient Works, right? Quincy Jones. If you watch the Netflix documentary about him, and then you just at the end they do this, like it's kind of like a roll of all of the stuff that he's finished. It's absolutely insane. I mean, it's ridiculous. We were talking about Bach the other day, weren't we? I'll come to Bach later, but how much music did he release?
1,128 pieces.
Yeah. I mean, Bach is fairly universally regarded in classical circles as the greatest composer of all time. He's not my favorite, but the greatest classical Western classical composer of all time. I mean, he's certainly up there, one of the top three. And he had like 15 kids, didn't he? Something.
Yeah, I think 18, right?
18 was it?
I could be.
Goodness me. I mean, I've got 4, and I think that's hot. Anyway. And then, let's talk about someone from a totally different area. This is Sia. Is it Sia? Sia or Sia? Sia. Anyway, she's from Australia, and she's a pop star herself, but she writes like a lot of the songs that you can't get out of your head that are, you find incredibly annoying because they're on the radio all the time, sung by other people, are actually written by this amazing lady. And here's what she said in the recent Tim Ferriss podcast. I don't think that I'm necessarily like a super talented songwriter. I think I'm just really productive. 1 out of 10 songs is a hit. So where a lot of people will spend 3 weeks on one song, I will write 10 in 3 weeks. Quantity is the process. Quality is the result. Cooking is the process. Food is the result. Yeah. Unless you're a raw, hardcore raw foodist, you don't say, "Oh no, I'm only interested in food. I don't want there to be any cooking." It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So this is the question I'm going to ask now for non-leapers. With all that in mind, yeah, a question for non-leapers. That's those who haven't done my program, The Leap. How much music did you finish last year? Not release, finish. How much music did you finish last year? How much music did you finish last year, Luke? Not release, obviously, but finish.
I don't know. That's a great question.
I don't
Pretty
know
good
either.
amount.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea. The year before was definitely more. The year before was like a ton. But I'm not sure about last year. I'd have to go and look into that.
Okay, here we go. Max and Mike, 11. Well done. Jamie, 0. Honda, none. Cryptoso, zilch. MDA, 0. David, none. A, possibly hundreds. Boom! Spencer, 0. Sid, just none. Jacob, like 1 track. Rob, a few tracks. Siofra, none. Zabolts, 2. James, 4. Live, 50. Awesome. Hang on. Frankie, barely any. Sean, 2. Rob, 0. Billy, 6 or 7. Get in there. Mr. 20 tracks. Yeah. So obviously people are different at different points, but think about it. You've got evidence from all of the greatest that one of the elements that they did to get great is that they finished. And like as I've said, I think your assumption may well be that they're great, so they finish lots of music. That's not it. Yeah, it's just as much, if not more, that that's how they got great. Right. So let's ask, what's the reason that you didn't finish more? What's the main reason that you didn't finish more? So Luke, you started with me fairly soon after your uni, didn't you?
Oh, I started Mike Monday courses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, how long had you been making music, like producing music before entering my work? I mean, when was it? It was around 2013, wasn't it, that you first came
It was
across?
2013. Yeah, it was like June of 2013, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
June or July of 2013.
And how long had you been making music by that point? Actually making, like trying to produce tracks?
Well, I mean, I've been writing music in bands for probably 7 or 8 years before that, but not like that seriously. And then I probably got like Ableton probably a year or two before that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like how, what were you struggling to finish it? I mean, you must have been, I guess, otherwise you wouldn't have paid attention to what I was saying. Were you struggling to finish at that point?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, I don't know if I'd really finished or put out anything before. I think I'd put out one little small collection of tracks, but was definitely still struggling.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look. I just want to call this out. It was 2020 after all, about the amount of music that was finished. So, I don't know what happened to you in 2020. So I certainly don't want to comment on that, because there could have been some terrible things that happened, which I totally understand. However, I do know a lot of people where some absolutely atrocious things happened in 2020, and they made more music than ever. So it's like, yeah, we need to accept that there are things that are going to impact us and not beat ourselves up. At the same time, I don't know. There are explanations on one hand, and then there are excuses on another. And I'm not saying that you're making excuses, Claire. I'm really not, because I don't know anything about what happened. But certainly, I made more music last year as a result of what happened in 2020 than I would have done had it not happened. So yeah. Okay. And that's not because I'm amazing or anything. It's just because I found that when there's a lot of stuff going on that you can't control, one of the best ways to overcome that psychologically is to focus on the things you can control. And one of the things you can control is what you do in the studio. So, not being funny, Aphex is brilliant, but so much faster to write instrumental music as opposed to songs with words. Yeah. Ask Stevie Wonder about that, Robin. Boom in your face. So, here we go. So, Super El Mundo. Here's what's stopping Super El Mundo. Skill set. What's the problem with that belief, Luke?
That you don't have the skills right now to make good music, and that you need other skills to actually be able to.
Yeah. Also, how do you get the skill set?
By doing it, by making music.
By finishing music, right. So you've put yourself at the bottom of the mountain, looking up the top, looking for the saying there's this amazing view up there, but I'm not going to take a step up to the top of this mountain because I'm not at the top. That I know you by saying skill set, you probably didn't realize you were saying that, Superamundo, but you are. Okay, you're refusing to take a step being another finished track. Yeah, so Corona and got stuck in Brazil. Oh, harsh. Well, I don't know, it could be worse. I'm not going to call out any countries actually, because I'll get in trouble. Right, but Brazil is a wonderful place. Although it had a pretty harsh time with Corona, didn't it? Yes. So got stuck on a song is what Spencer says. So what would have happened had you just put that song to one side, or just finished it and then made 10 more songs in its place? Is the question there. Yeah. Paul, I didn't start enough. Yeah. Doubt, loss of creative vision. That's interesting. So where does creative vision come from? Where do you think creative vision comes from, Luke?
It typically comes after you make stuff you don't like and you like, and then you can narrow down what your vision actually is.
Once again, very similar to the skill set one. Where do you get your creative vision from? You get it from creating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, probably what happened is that you stopped. You felt doubt, so you stopped. And then that meant you weren't able to have another creative vision because you weren't creating. That's where the ideas come from, right? Work and family. Again, I don't know what your work and family situation is, but it may well be the case, Colin, that you're saying that I need a certain amount of music in order to an amount of time to make music. And obviously, bearing in mind, I don't have any idea of your situation. So yeah, there are some situations in which it may well be very, very hard to make much progress, but you would be amazed at the amount of progress you can make in a very, very short space of time if you take a particular approach. Lack of faith in myself. Once again, how do you get faith in yourself? By actually just doing the work. Yeah. And not focusing on maybe it's a lack of faith in the result. But if you just focus on you actually taking the action, just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, you start to build a faith in yourself that, well, at least I can do this. I can do this. Yeah. David wanted to make them perfect. Yeah. So let's just throw perfection away. It's not useful. Yeah. We can't achieve perfection. Yeah? We can simply work towards mastery. Okay. So Cryptoso says laziness. Now, that's an interesting one because that's like it's what I would call and please understand I'm saying these things in order to help you with kindness, right? But listen to me about this one because it's important. When people say I'm lazy or haven't got enough discipline, yeah, what they're actually doing is that that is an excuse. It's an excuse in sheep's clothing, right? It's almost like it's couched in terms of taking responsibility, yeah, because you're kind of saying I'm lazy, right? So you are actually in a way being accountable. But the problem is with a word like laziness, or I haven't got enough discipline, is that there's no information in it, and also it's not true. It's just that you haven't done it. Yeah. What you're essentially going is like, I am this, therefore I can't do that, which is a bit similar to saying something is stopping me, which I don't have any control over. Yeah. So while you kind of, it's almost like the reason I say it's a wolf in sheep's clothing is that you are kind of taking responsibility and you're saying I am lazy, but you're letting go of responsibility by saying laziness. It's this thing that you can't control. Yes, you can. Just do something every day, 5 minutes. Even a lazy person can do that. Pretty soon you'll find that you're less lazy.
Tiny habits.
Yeah, tiny habits, exactly. Anyway, coming back to this. If you've not finished anything or finished very little in the last year, if it's because you can't finish anything unless it's amazing, or even because you're not satisfied with it, yeah, or you want it to be perfect or anything like that, what would you do if you knew for 100% certain that you will never be satisfied? that satisfaction is a terrible goal. What's the reason satisfaction is a terrible goal? Why am I saying that satisfaction is a terrible goal? Post your guesses in the chat. So, this was fairly early on. This was back in 2012, I think. It was one of my the early people that joined Start Now, Finish Fast, and we had this forum, old school forum, and I was talking to this guy on this forum, and I said, because he was like, I just want to be satisfied with my music, and I said, I was really surprised when he said that. I was like, I don't think I've ever been truly satisfied with any of my music, and he was so shocked by that. He couldn't process it. He couldn't understand how. He said, well, why do you do it then? Like, I can't accept that. Yes, it's like, which I found incredibly amazing. Yeah.
Satisfaction from your music.
Yeah.
Interesting. What is that word even? I want to read a definition of satisfaction. Fulfillment of one's wishes, expectations, or needs, or the pleasure derived from this.
There you go. Okay. B mono, it changes all the time. Great point. You're setting yourself up for failure. Suggest the goalposts keep moving. Brilliant. Murafly, when you are satisfied, gold star to Murafly. When you're satisfied, you have no reason to make more music. Yeah. Silverbeat, and you just stop growing. Rob, it's perfection, just dressed up. Yeah, Claire, great point. It's a black hole of a word. A bit like laziness or discipline. So what's actually? Yeah. First of all, what do you mean by it? Yeah. So, if what you're looking for is to always be proud of everything that you do, or even to be satisfied with everything that you finish or release, I've just got, please don't make music. You're in the wrong place. I know. Go and do something else, right? Because you ain't gonna get satisfaction from the music. You're not going to be. No, you are going to get satisfaction from the making of the music, but you're not going to be satisfied with the result. You can't find satisfaction in the result. But where you find endless pride and satisfaction, yeah, is in this equation. Yeah, this equation solves the problem. How smart you work on hard things. Hard things being finishing music, yeah, multiplied by how smart you work on hard things multiplied by how hard you work on smart things. How smart you work on hard things multiplied by how hard you work on smart things. Okay, that equals your progress. Yeah. So in other words, where you will get your satisfaction on is what you do and how hard you do it. Yeah? Not just how hard you do it, not just what you do, yeah, but what you do and how hard you do it. Yeah? Both of those things are important, and I put the smart thing in there before the hard thing because sometimes people think they just need to work hard, but that's not it. You got to do the right things. You got to do smart things, yeah, and then you got to do the nothing else. Yeah, that is your progress. Yeah? That is where you will get endless pride and satisfaction. Okay, you do not know how good your music is. Yeah, and even if you think you do in any given moment, your opinion will change constantly. It already does. You've got ample evidence of this. You don't need me to prove it to you, right? Your opinion will change constantly. So by definition, your level of satisfaction and pride in the music itself, in the result, is always changing. So you can't control that. What can you control? Your level of output, your progress. And the very best know this, and they live it. If you don't believe me, I'm just going to play a little section of a TED Talk by Adam Grant where he talks about original thinkers. Okay, when he says original, he calls them originals. So these are the very best in kind of any area of human endeavor, which is about, you know, creating stuff. So just check this.
What about fear? Originals feel fear too. They're afraid of failing. But what sets them apart from the rest of us is that they're even more afraid of failing to try. They know you can fail by starting a business that goes bankrupt or by failing to start a business at all. They know that in the long run, our biggest regrets are not our actions, but our inactions. The things we wish we could redo, if you look at the science, are the chances not taken. Elon Musk told me recently he didn't expect Tesla to succeed. He was sure the first few SpaceX launches would fail to make it to orbit, let alone get back. But it was too important not to try. And for so many of us, when we have an important idea, we don't bother to try. But I have some good news for you. You're not going to get judged on your bad ideas. A lot of people think they will. If you look across industries and ask people about their biggest idea, their most important suggestion, 85% of them stayed silent instead of speaking up. They're afraid of embarrassing themselves, of looking stupid. But guess what? Originals have lots and lots of bad ideas. Tons of them, in fact. Take the guy who invented this. Do you care that he came up with a talking doll so creepy that it scared not only kids but adults too? No, you celebrate Thomas Edison for pioneering the light bulb. If you look across fields, the greatest originals are the ones who fail the most, because they're the ones who try the most. Take classical composers, the best of the best. Why do some of them get more pages in encyclopedias than others, and also have their compositions re-recorded more times? One of the best predictors is the sheer volume of compositions that they generate. The more output you churn out, the more variety you get, and the better your chances of stumbling on something truly original. Even the three icons of classical music, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, had to generate hundreds and hundreds of compositions to come up with a much smaller number of masterpieces. Now, you may be wondering, how did this guy become great without doing a whole lot? I don't know how Wagner pulled that off. But for most of us, if we want to be more original, we have to generate more ideas.
Okay, so let's not go. First of all, let's not get zeroed in on the fact that he name dropped with Elon Musk or anything like that, because he's talking a lot of sense. Yeah. One of the problems with just sort of coming up with little critical criticisms like that is that we can often then apply that criticism to everything someone is saying. I don't like Elon Musk, so therefore this guy is not saying something that is valuable. Yeah. I tend to just avoid my so if I sort of naturally criticize lots of little things, what I'm finding is that I also do that with myself. Try and just let go of those yes but, yes but, yes but, yes but things, and start to say and all the time. Okay, because that will really help you in your creative process itself. Because what, like, and by the way, I think I know how Wagner did so little, because that graph showed number of compositions, and what did Wagner do?
He had like a 17-hour ring cycle.
Exactly. So yeah. So he wrote like enormously long operas. Yeah. So in terms of volume of music, it may well be the same. So I know that, right? Now there is a problem with talks like this. Yeah. The kind of motivational things like this is that they tell you what to do, but not how to do it. And in this Idea Explosion Challenge program, I've started to show you how to do it, how to make absolutely loads of music, how to finish it. Because I started Make Music Your Life and figured out how to consistently finish music because it was the biggest pain point in my previous career. And tell me, Luke, I mean, I know you're kind of biased, right? But do you think that I'm overstating it if I was to say that we can now say that the creative process isn't a mystery and that the code has been cracked?
Yeah.
I mean, is that hyperbole?
I don't think so. I think there's still like mysterious aspects to it.
Yeah, of course.
But I think
there's always more to learn, right?
But the main points of it, yeah.
Yeah. It's like we understand how the creative process works and we know what to do in nearly all situations right now. Yeah. But bear in mind that knowing how doesn't mean that actually doing it is easy, because struggle is an essential element in the process. And what you're doing now, and also what I'm about to tell you, is the first step. Yeah, because I've coached thousands of musicians, producers, and composers at literally every level and in many genres. And when people say some version of this, quantity is not for me, I'm all about quality, or when I've got done or learnt this thing, then I'll finish something, what they're really saying is, I'm scared. Think that's fair to say, Luke?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
What are they scared of?
Either judgment or like making something that isn't good, or they think like their music is themselves, and if they make something that is bad, then they're bad. Or that they're like wasting their time, or that they can't be successful, or they're scared that what the current level of what they're making is the best thing that they can make, without realizing that they have to make a lot of things to actually get to the point of being able to make something that is high quality.
Yeah.
It's the gap.
The gap, yeah. So listen, I'm scared too. Are you scared, Luke?
Yeah, points for sure.
Yeah. As is Aphex Twin, Quincy Jones, Sia. Everyone is scared. That's like an essential part of the process. That's what this is. Yeah. But this is the difference between us and the when I bang on about quality, I mean I'm scared people. We don't let the fear stop us from making progress. Most of the time. Anyway. I mean, obviously, all of us sometimes end up in a kind of rabbit hole and sort of, find ourselves kind of messing ourselves up and, going around in circles. All of us do that. But the difference is that we know what to do when that happens. We can notice it very, very quickly. So this is another part of the point of the Splurge rules, the zero focus on quality. What is that doing? It's building your awareness of when you're second guessing yourself, because like not all quality judgment is about fear, not all of it, right? But a good portion of it is about being scared. Yeah. So by me saying to you, zero focus on quality, what I'm actually getting you to do is notice that your fear. It's one of the things I'm getting you to do. Yeah. Because when you start to become aware of how your fear is impacting your creative process, you get a bit of space from it and you can start to do something about it. Yeah. So if there's just one thing that you can do to improve your music, and this is actually 3 things: speed up, make more music, learn to laugh at and learn from the crap. Yeah. Because once again, quantity leads to progress and progress leads to quality. You are not going to make quality music unless you make a lot of it. So I'm stepping off my soapbox now, but you know, when I said that this is one of those things that all of the greatest know, the most, the best know, but which everybody else seems to say is wrong. This is what I mean. It's so obvious. It's just there for everybody to see all the time. And still we have a culture which says that quantity is in opposition to quality. Yeah, that like going round and round in circles, perfecting things over and over again is what is going to lead you to making the best music. It isn't. It simply isn't. I mean, there may well be a few outliers where it's different, but even them, they finish a lot of work behind closed doors. So, on that note, let's move on to the final countdown, Splurge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of the demonstrating thing again. And let me just work out my screen. It might be a bit of a mess. Right, there we go. Let me just check, see if there are any questions here first before I do this.
I haven't seen any. Beethoven wrote 5,000 musical sketches to get to his output.
Yeah.
I'm getting close. Getting close to that.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I mean, I think being, it's okay to be scared. It's not that you're not going to be scared. I think this is the mistake. It's like, I think that a lot of people think that being scared is an indication that they're doing something wrong. Being scared is an indication that you're doing the right thing. Well, I mean, obviously, unless you're throwing yourself off a building without a parachute, right? But in things like this, being scared is you want to live in that stretch zone where you are kind of wondering if this is the right thing to do, because then by definition you are in your stretch zone, so you're having to grow. And like, I think people wait for confidence. They wait for a feeling. I mean, satisfaction, what they probably mean is confident. I want to have confidence that this is good, right? But what is confidence? Yeah, confidence is having achieved something, not progress. Yeah, confidence is what happens after you do the thing. Yeah, not in the process of doing the thing. You have to use courage to overcome fear. Courage isn't the same as confidence. Courage is what you use when you are scared. So when you're being courageous, you are scared. You're not confident, right? So you use courage. So you make a commitment to do something that you can't do, which means that you're scared, right? So you use courage to do it. The doing of it brings you a new capability, a new skill, which then means that you have confidence. Yeah. So confidence is what comes way after you've done the thing. Yeah. You have to do the thing using courage in order to get that confidence. And then you find something else to do, which you're afraid of. Yeah. Which then you make a commitment to do, which then use courage to do, which then brings a new capability, which then brings you confidence. That is the process of growth. So we're going to take the training wheels off today with the final countdown splurge. And we're going to, and these are the rules, right? So choose 3 elements that are fun and fast for you to make and which are the most important for your style of music. Now, sometimes things might conflict a bit, but that's okay. So remember, the priority here is speed. So reflect on what you've learned about yourself and how you work from the splurges that you've done already. Yeah. So different kind of elements I'm talking about here are things like bass lines, arpeggiators, melodies, piano chords, and pads. Yeah. So for me, I have chosen kind of rhythm on. I'll get to the instruments in a bit. I've sort of like kind of low end rhythm and repetitive arpeggiators, and then piano stuff. Yeah, sort of piano improvisation. So there's the three kind of elements. Yeah. So choose the instruments which are the quickest for you to use each musical element. Yeah. So even if you love using something which takes longer than something else, don't use it for this particular splurge. Now, in the demo on the site, at that point, I was doing things differently. So I actually removed the defam. This time, the thing I'm about to demonstrate, I am using the defam, right? Because I've found a way to do it quicker. But what I have done is I have removed the Mother 32 from which is the top of the three here. Oh, Luke's covering it up. Anyway, never mind. So yeah, I've removed the Mother 32 and I've put my piano and Vangelis synth kind of together. So I play them together. And here you can see I was practicing doing this before, so I've already done a bunch. But I'm going to do some more again. Oh, wait. Yeah. So what I've got is I've got the subharmonicon doing the repetitive kind of figures. I've got the defam doing the kind of low end rhythm, and then these two I'm playing together. The reason I've added the this is the Vangelis like sync thing, is that when I play them together, it's quite inspiring. So that makes it more fun and more fast. It kind of sounds like ooh, like that. So it kind of increases the speed. I'm not showing my screen, am I? There we go. Yeah. So subharmonicon, defam, piano, and the Vangelis string are being played together. And I've put these together in order to increase the sort of inspiration that I feel when doing it, because that makes me faster. Yeah. Not that I'm too concerned if I don't feel inspired, but you know, it's there in the template. Okay. This is just a delay. I don't actually need that there. Let me just check. It keeps on changing the setting. But I'll just leave that there. Okay. Now, where are we? So I've got my template. Yeah. And I mean, I've got 4 instruments, but 2 of them are together. So they're 3. Yeah. So it's a very, very small number of instruments. Is there next question? Is there anything else you can do to your template to make your splurge quicker, or your rules, really? Yeah. So can you reduce options? So for instance, save samples that you like to use in a particular folder. Maybe quickly create a bank of sounds you know that you're into. Are there any decisions you can make up front? So use the same sound for a type of part. So I'll always use this part. I mean, that's me using the piano and the Vangelis synth. Maybe pre-writing placeholder parts for any of the instruments. So if you're doing house music, for instance, why not just put in a kick, hat, and clap? Because it's fairly likely some version of that is going to happen. Yeah. Maybe pre-write the same. Sorry, yeah.
I was going to say for like house or certain genres, you can just get like a pre-made loop and just use that to splurge over. And then go in and like if you change up or keep it if it works.
Yeah, well, but not then going during the splurge, then going after. Yeah.
Yeah, if you and only if you like it, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that for a track that you don't want to finish.
Yeah, yeah. So, but in the splurge, you would just use the same loop and not do anything to it. So you're just using it almost as a click track. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you can change anything. This is another thing. It's like people seem to think they need to get it right first time, and they can't change anything afterwards. It's like, hang on a minute, what are you talking about? what like you can have placeholder things in your splurges. That's absolutely fine, right? Small workflow efficiencies, and I tend not to like the word efficiency. I much prefer the word effective, because efficiency tends to be, small incremental changes. However, in this case, these small efficiencies can actually add up to quite a big change. Yeah. So pre-select the sounds and save in the template. Set the loop correctly. What you're actually looping. Another example is in Logic, you can create screen sets so that you can kind of go to specific screens really fast. What other things can you do? So what I've done for my final countdown splurge is I've removed the MIDI clock, right? So this was actually a question that was asked in a previous one, which is where are the notes coming from? So both the subharmonicon and the DFAM have what do they have? They have sequences in them which actually play notes, and all that I had coming from the door before was a MIDI clock signal which was telling them to go at a certain speed. So I've actually removed that, and I'm going to use the tempo knob on the subharmonicon. Okay. The reason I'm doing that is because it's actually much quicker to get started, and then I'm just going to record the stuff into the door at whatever the tempo is, right? I may well be sorry.
No, you finish your thought. Sorry, I thought you were done.
So I may well be setting myself up for a world of hurt later on, because obviously it's not going to be an exact tempo. But to be honest, I'm not too worried about that. Right? This is just really about ideas. Yeah. The other thing that I'm doing
Sorry, I was going to say for people that are doing this for the first time, like if you can save yourself like 15 seconds, like if you think of something, you're like, that'll save me 10 seconds every time, but it's going to do it every time. Do it. and it may seem trivial, but over time, like it's like reducing friction, and like 5-10 second things will change the way you're feeling about things every time you go in and do this.
Exactly. Yeah. Very good point. For this particular splurge, because we're doing we're kind of going even faster than we were before. I mean, what we are leveraging here is speed more than anything else. Again, I can't remember who it was that said it, but it's like, in quickness comes truth. Yeah? And you learn a lot from doing it like this. So speed isn't the only thing it's not the only button that we can push. Some splurges, it's not, I mean, you do go as fast as you can, but it's not just about speed. With this one, we're just totally and utterly zeroing in on speed. And that can be good in some ways and bad in others. But that's okay, because we've got other splurges that we can do as well, right? So again, this isn't the way to do all your splurges. This is a type of splurge where we are leveraging, we're pushing the speed button as hard as we possibly can. Yeah?
Yeah. It's by Ray Bradbury. In quickness is truth. The more swiftly you write, the more honest you are. And hesitation is thought.
Right. Sorry, what was the last bit? Hesitation is what?
In hesitation is thought.
In hesitation is thought. Brilliant. In quickness is truth. There you go. So true. You learn so much about yourself when you do this. Yeah. What you like, what you don't like, what you actually do, how good you are. Like, so many different things. Yeah. I'm going to, in my demo, I'm going to I've asked you in the instructions, I think, to save your splurges in different files, but because in different project files. But because of the way that I'm doing things, in order to save time, I'm actually going to just do them into the same project file. Yeah, and then I'm going to export them out of that project file, because the thing is, I'm not tied to a particular tempo because I've got the tempo knob, right? So it doesn't. I don't have to have the door at a particular tempo, so I can. And then I'm going to export them, and then just record, make a note of where they are, and if I come to work on them later, I will then be able to get them out of that file. So this is just to go as quickly as possible. You don't have to do that though. This is what I'm doing because of the particular situation I've got. Yeah? You just got to find the efficiencies that you can create in your process. Yeah. And I've got everything else just set up. Okay. So the next step is to get a countdown timer. So I got one of these. which makes a horrible noise when it's finished. I do like physical timers. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So get a countdown timer. But you can get you can get digital ones. You can get them on your phone, obviously. You can do it on your computer as well. I just like physical timers because they're a bit more physical. So if you've got one of them, get one. But don't worry. Don't stop yourself from doing it if you haven't got one yet. Maybe get one later. Yeah. And set the countdown timer for 30 minutes. Okay. And then simply do as many splurges as you can. Did I say as you can twice then? In that time. Going as quickly as you can. Okay. So essentially what you're doing is you've chosen the parts and the instruments that you can go quickest on. You've removed as much friction as possible from your process in whatever way works for you for that. Yeah. And then you're just simply going to do as many splurges as you can in 30 minutes. Yeah. Now, in service of that, as you're splurging, add the parts in an arrangement, right? So if you're in Ableton, possibly, I mean, it depends how you work, right? But I just want to say, possibly, for example, think about working in arrangement view rather than clip view. Yeah. Again, if you have time, make a couple of visual variations as we did in the last splurge, where you're just kind of laying them out. Yeah. There were some questions about that, which is like, are we trying to make an arrangement which works or blah, blah? No, you're just simply going, right, these are the combinations that I might want to hear in the future. Combinations of parts. So I'd like to hear the kick drum and the strings together. Or I'd like to hear the bass line alone with the melody or something. I don't know, whatever it might be. You're not actually listening to it to see if it works. You're just putting them on the screen. Yeah. Obviously, if you're not in a DAW or you're using the DAW as a tape machine, which is essentially what I'm doing, yeah, then just do what you do on the fly. It's almost like a jam, really. Yeah. And then repeat this 30-minute countdown session as many times as you have time for. Okay. Again, 0 focus on quality, 200% focus on speed this time. Save the project files. Yeah. Now, if you can, export or record all the splurges you've done after the countdown ends. Yeah. If you can't, and you have to record at the end of each splurge, don't worry. Stop the timer to record and export each splurge and start the timer again when you start another splurge. Yeah. But essentially this one, export or record all the splurges you've done after the countdown ends. That's a way of actually saving time. Yeah, in the actual countdown. Yeah. I'm just going to move this down by doing that. Okay. But either way, you have to make sure that you've got stereo audio files of all your splurges before you leave your music space. Yeah. Do not think that listening to your ideas from your DAW in the listening session is okay. It isn't, for various different reasons we'll find out about on day 11. Okay. You need to have stereo audio files of all your splurges. Okay. Were there any, at this point, are there any questions, Luke?
I haven't seen any come in. Oh, wait, maybe there was one. Would you recommend a reference track in the templates too, or would that be likely to taint the idea?
Oh my goodness me. So, yeah, no, please. So this, yeah, reference tracks. Let's not get down. Let's not talk about that now. That's a big topic. But let's just say, I'm showing you how to make music without needing reference tracks at this stage in the process, or at least having a much healthier relationship to reference tracks. Yeah, I know a lot of people teach use a reference track. I use reference tracks at certain points in the process in a particular way. But I do not use it in the way that a lot of people teach how to use it. Please don't do that. please. It's a bad idea. For lots and lots of reasons, psychological ones, creative ones, for 1,000 different reasons. Okay. So yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to sort of. It's good for reference tracks are good for learning things, but for making music that people want to hear, that is unique and that is going to get you somewhere, that is going to get you somewhere in terms of your creative process, don't use them to make music. Yeah, you can use them to check things as well, but actually using them as your preferred method, really, really bad idea for lots of different reasons. I've picked up the pieces of a number of different people who have used that method, and it's not pretty. It can lead to really, really bad sort of holes, basically. Anyway, so yeah, so but short version is, in this, when splurging, do not use reference tracks. Okay, yeah. So yes, we may well think of a track that we really like, yeah, so from our history, and then think of an element and use that as a starting point. Yeah, think of a type of element like the Alberti bass, but I haven't put Mozart and Mozart sonata into my DAW in order to splurge, right? So yeah, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole on reference tracks, because it's a big thing out there, and it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, such bad advice. Anyway, until day don't listen until day 11. Okay, don't listen to the thing. Now I'm going to show you me splurging, and what I'm going to do. Do you reckon that you guys can handle watching me splurge for about 10 minutes? I would usually do it for half an hour, but I think half an hour is a bit long, isn't it?
I can entertain them.
Sorry?
Should I I can follow the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you see the chat while you're splurging?
Well, I mean, theoretically, but I'll be kind of focused on what I'm doing. So, if you can you talk, Luke? I just want to hear if I can hear you.
Check.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Cool. So yeah,
I'll probably.
Yeah, go
on. I can't hear what you're doing unless I mute. Well, I can. Yeah, so, I'll be able to do it.
So the thing is, mute yourself, and then if you need to stop me, unmute yourself and say something. Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and I'm going to see if I can. So what I'm actually going to do. So this was another rule that I didn't say. I'm actually not going to stop the track playing. I'm going to finish the little splurge, right? And then I'm going to keep going, and I'm just going to change the tempo. So you'll know that I'm doing a new splurge when I'm changing the tempo. Okay? So because that's saving even more time. Okay?
Sounds good.
I didn't actually put that in the thing. Oh, see, that's my countdown time again. Sorry. Let's just check we can hear. Turn off the maximize up. Latency. Right, okay. And brilliant. Let's check to see if I can hear what's going on. Can you hear that? What I was just doing then?
Hello. I could hear the time. Wait. Let me mute and see if I can hear it through.
Can you hear that?
I can't hear it through Skype. Let me see.
Yeah, I think they can hear it. Yeah. Can you hear that? What I was just doing?
Hello.
Okay.
I can hear this. Wait. Let me mute and
can you put headphones on, Luke?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, let's see. I'll probably lose track of time as well. I'm just going to go. Slow stuff down. There we go. Right, here goes nothing. going. I forgot to set the timer. So that was 3 splurges, I think, kind of, in a sense. And just as a personal thing, what's been really interesting about this is that I, using this setup, this basically me delivering this program to you, and specifically the final countdown splurge. Basically, what I had been doing before was setting up like a patch, on the evening before, and then doing this, kind of split, like playing it a bit so I knew what it was, and splurging it the next day, and actually in applying the rules that I've just shown you to what I was doing. I was like, right, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to set up anything. I'm just going to go and just sort of discover something as I go, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to make individual splurges, and I'm going to break free of the grid. I'm going to turn off the MIDI clock in the DAW and just go on the tempo knob in here, and I'm going to change the tempo. And so I did it last night in my pajamas for the first time, and I was lit. I mean, it was just such an amazing experience for me, because it's like even more what I'm talking about in terms of discovery and sort of going with the idea that comes, and being okay with mistakes. Because basically, the way that this works is sometimes you change things and it goes out of tune, but you've got to kind of work with it, and you've got to get the thing. And what ends up happening, because I'm not sort of separating the splurges, is you get this kind of thing where it kind of gets somewhere, and then it kind of goes somewhere uncertain, then it gets somewhere again, which I find really compelling to play. It's like I'm kind of on the very edge of failure at all times, and it just creates this sort of thing, which is just, I can't tell you, it's literally like I'm in heaven when I'm doing it. I'm just like, this is it. I mean, literally, I can die happy. It's like, because it's like, this is it. And it never would, this would, well, I'm not saying would never would have happened. I probably would have done it at some point, but I would not have done it now had it not been for coaching you through this thing so that I could demonstrate something. So I just wanted to send my gratitude your way for joining the Idea Explosion Challenge program, because without you, I wouldn't have got here. So anyway, so that's, but anyway, that's an example of just what can happen in terms of how excited you can be when you really push the momentum and speed button and remove all the barriers. Yeah. And as you heard, there were some things that weren't very good, but that's okay, because there were some things that were better. Luke, were there any questions coming in, or any anything that we need to address at this stage?
I didn't see much. It seemed like most people were just like really enjoying it. Let me see if there was anything. Somebody said they'd recommend watching the 30-minute splurge on the site because it's far less pain than what they said than what us mogless mortals will have to go through. And I think what they may be referring to is some of your older splurges where before you hit this whatever this streak is, where like you just like touch things and it's like, oh, well, that's the greatest thing he's ever done.
Yeah, but no, let me just address this, and also Blue says,
yeah, I wanted.
Let me address that one, but let me just address this one, because I think there might be a mistake going on here, which is important. Here we go. Sounds like satisfaction. No, not satisfaction with. I mean, it is satisfaction with my progress, right? Because the point is, it's not satisfaction with the music, because like I'm going to listen to that back and go, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish this was different. I wish that was the. So I'm not satisfied. But where I am unsatisfied, I'll go, well, in order to improve that thing that I'm not satisfied with, I'm going to do this, and I will do that. And that may well improve that thing, it may well not, but if it does improve that thing, that will create another area where I'm dissatisfied, right? So if you're referring to satisfied with the music, you are 100% wrong. If you're referring to satisfaction with the fact that I'm making the progress, then, I mean, it's not really satisfaction. It's more excitement and where else can I progress? So it's not even satisfaction. It's almost like satisfaction is an end point. It's I don't know what it is. It's more momentum filled than that. And what was the thing that we were going to come to before I just addressed that?
Talking
Oh yeah,
about
yeah, no, about the how you know, good or bad, you may well think what I just did is. So something weird has happened right now, just at the end of 2020, where I'm on a streak. Okay. Now you may not. I'm not. I don't want to sound like an ass. Basically, it's really hard for me to talk about this, right? But let's just compare myself to myself. Compared to me 6 months ago, let me ask you, Luke. Compared to the music I was making, because you've heard my music, you know, over the time I've been sending you stuff. Compared to the music I was making, say 3 months ago, in general, the worst things are less bad than the worst things before, aren't they? Are they? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been like a progression where you're kind of asking these questions, and then splurging and getting answers to them and trying to consistently iterate and improve that got you to this point.
Right. Yeah. So I am on a streak now, but where that streak has come from is by doing the things I am showing you, that I am giving you. It's like, it's this approach of not being satisfied, of making a lot of bad stuff, of going, okay, so I'm going to try this, trying it. This doesn't work. That does. What can I change? Right. So like that ongoing, I will kind of, on day 11, give you a clear picture of exactly how this works in the finishing of your music. That's the thing that's precipitated the streak that I'm on now. And the thing, I mean, one thing I do know is that the streak isn't going to last forever. They never do. Yeah. So that's the other thing to bear in mind. At some point, I'm going to have a cold, dark night of the soul. And I know that for a fact. There's no getting away from it. That's part of the process. Yeah. It's just at the moment, it just so happens that right now I'm on a high about it, which is kind of creating this sort of situation. But like, go and have a look at the crap split.
Some of your old ones, they'd be like you'd start with like the 808 and it'd be like out of time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it would just be these very like, you know, logic-y sounding synths, and now it's like everything you touch is like a new world is opened up.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't need Moog synths to do that. It's just that I decided to create this Zentor project where it's man versus machine, and it was like these things kind of these things just speak to me. The way that they work, they just speak to me. So I've removed the mother, which doesn't so much speak to me, and I've just kept these two, and the piano improvisation, which speaks to me. But I know what speaks to me because I've tried so many things that don't. In terms of elements, and it's not just about equipment. It's in terms of elements. In terms of style, in terms of, I've let go of the music producer I thought I was, or that I thought I should be, or and I'm embracing the music producer I am, which is then, to talk about creative vision, enhancing or kind of suggesting a different creative vision from the one I thought I should have. Yeah. And that's creating the purple period, the streak. Yeah. And let's be clear, you know, there's a lot of improvement that can happen. This isn't like the greatest music that you've ever heard in your life or anything near it. Right. So it's not like, it's just, compared to myself, I'm doing better now than I was before. But that's because of splurging. That's because of these approaches. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any other questions about the Final Countdown Splurge? Oh yeah, and by the way, I'll be doing one of these kind of multiple different splurges things in, what time is it? I think I'll be doing it at 8. I think it's 8. So my 8, so that's an hour from now over on my Daily channel. So if you want to see me flail around in the in the dark, then go and check that out as well. The link's in the description. It might not be there if you came before I actually put it in the description, because we got the link wrong. So all you need to do is refresh the thing. Fantastic. All right. Rob says, "Can I live in your studio?" No, but you can join me on my on the live stream and see what I'm up to there. Brilliant. Okay. Yoga Dollar and Kitara says, "That's helpful. Was getting frustrated thinking I have poorly selected elements, but I see it's about splurging different combos." So, Luke, can you just kind of speak to that, please? Because it's like I think the problem here is the idea that you can select elements poorly, because in the frame that we're talking here, that's actually not possible, because
because you're not worrying about quality, and a poorly selected element. Yeah, it's like sometimes a poorly selected element or a thing that wasn't meant to be can end up being a thing that becomes part of like your main arsenal. Like for me, I did like the 600 Splurge challenge, and there was a time when I was like going so quick that I meant to put a reverb on this synth, and I put this like real, it was this distortion, and at first I was like, this sounds terrible, but then I moved it up high and had a bunch of reverb on it, and I was like, oh, this is like the sound I've been looking for. So like a poorly selected element, it's one, it's assuming you're looking at quality, and two, it's also, instead of saying, you're still looking at it, it sounds like maybe by the way of like, how do I find a quality selected element versus how do I use this element to make something quality? Like, how do I use the gear that I have and the sounds that I've selected here to make something quality versus how do I find the right quality elements, right?
Yeah, it's almost like you're not like there's an element of not taking responsibility when you think I mean you are, because you're saying I poorly selected the elements, but taking responsibility in the creative process, like I've got this thing, what am I going to do with it? Yeah, and this speaks to also this question, and I will come to the ones before it. Another but from Robin. You said zero quality, but you've got some gorgeous sounding Moog there and a tasty piano. Does having nicer sounds help? Nicer sounds helps. So zero focus on quality doesn't mean that you don't, over time, identify how to make things sound good right? Through splurging, right? And it also doesn't mean that you if you can, or when you want to, or when you have the money, or when you're able to, get something that might sound really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and
like it's like zero focus on quality. It's like zero focus on quality when you are using the tools that you have, right? Because if I say no, you have to have at least a Moog quality sound, and you have to have this, and you have to have that in order to make quality music. That's not true. But if I have it available to have a high quality, yes, it helps. But that you zero focus on quality no matter what you have. You will see. I started my coming back when I came back to making music. I had a what did I have? I had Logic. I had tiny little speakers, and I had it was an electric piano. Was my MIDI keyboard. It was the electric, like literally a rolling electric piano. It didn't even have MIDI. It was just a USB thing. So it had an electric piano, and that was what I wrote the entire album on. No outboard whatsoever. And I wrote that album in a month, and I released it. It's the one that got to the top of Beatport, right? So but you have this and but you have that. Well, yeah, I'm not going to stop getting that stuff if I can, or when I can, or if I think it's a good idea. Yeah, because the trouble is, what people think is it's the stuff that is the thing that makes them good. It isn't. It's you that makes the stuff good. You should have heard. If I wish I'd have now recorded on Christmas Day when the subharmonicon came. On the kitchen counter, I plugged it in with my headphones on, and I pressed play, and I was like, I think we may have made a mistake here, Santa. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
It's like, sounds absolutely terrible. But why don't you speak to that as well, Lick? You probably have something to say as well.
Yeah, I was going to talk about your experience and kind of like witnessing it over the course of the last like 2 years. Because like when you started, you were just like, I'm just going to make things. And then you kept asking this question, and basically like, you know, everybody just did the style splurge, so they can relate to that. You kind of like did the style splurge, and you would kind of iterate and change and be like, what is this style and what were my influences? And I mean, even, you know, you started this 2 years ago, and then you had produced for like, I mean, however many 20 or some odd years before that. And you're still like, oh, the Cologne concert. I forgot about one of my key albums. How can I incorporate that in? So like the style splurge isn't something you do for 2 days. It's something you're going to do for the next few years. And so like the reason you've gotten to this point, I think, is partially because you kept asking about that style splurge, and you kind of got to a point where like there's a style that you've hit and you know what you're going to do. And it's like you have the options, you have the vision, you have a purpose for these splurges. You're doing it for this Zentar thing, combining machine and man, and everyone here is like, they're just getting this idea, this style splurge idea. So like the first thing you try is probably not going to work. Like the second thing you try, you're going to get some information, but it might be the 20th or the 30th iteration of the style splurge that then combines these previous elements of the style splurge to get your own thing with your own gear, with your own stuff that just, you know, comes out sounding better. So I think, yeah, it is like patience, and it is like, you know, you didn't stop doing the style splurge. You basically style splurged in different iterations for the last like 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the music wasn't this. So it's like when people say, you know, so I coached Claude Von Stroke for many years from around 2012. And so, you know, I mean, I definitely would hesitate to say that I am responsible for his success. He is 100% responsible for his success, building one of the biggest independent house music labels, you know, most successful labels on the planet, and becoming, you know, the big DJ that he is. But we spoke regularly for however many years it was, 7 years. And when sometimes I've mentioned him, you know, some people have sometimes said, yeah, but you know, he's got a big audience, right? And he's got a unique style, as if these things, like he came out of the mother's womb with those things already. No, he did the things that meant he got them, which you haven't done yet. Right? So yeah, it's almost like you've got these instruments, but you're saying don't focus on quality. I got these instruments as a result of sort of learning what it was that I wanted to do from splurging and not focusing on quality. Again, zero focus on quality is the process, quality is the result. Right? So I haven't bought, yeah, I mean, I did get that, hang on, where is it? That thing over there and that thing down there, which at the moment are turned off. So I did try a couple of other things first that didn't work for me so well. I mean, I may well incorporate them at some point in the future, but didn't work for me so well. But because of the way that these things work, and it's partly about the sound, but it's also about the way that the sequences work, and they're really discovery machines. They just work for the way that I am as a music producer. I'm very heavily on the discovery side rather than the design side. You need both, by the way, but I'm very heavily in that way. So I recognize that, and I learned that from splurging, from zero focus on quality, from being able to make a lot of ideas and learn from the bad ideas. Yeah. So, you know, that kind of question is, you got it the wrong way round, if you like. Well, it's not even the wrong way round. It's an ongoing system. There was another one over here. When is
Yeah,
the
it's
What Do I
literally
Do
like-
with All These Splurges session? It's on the, oh God, I can't remember when it was. It's Monday, on Monday. Yeah, so in 3 days time, 15th of January. In fact, let's do that now before we answer any more questions. Oh no, I've gone back. What's going on? I haven't. There we go. So 15th of January, we're going to do the direct listening session, where we talk about how to listen to your music. And but then on the following Monday, so that's on your Friday, and then the following Monday, we're going to do the how to finish your ideas session. It'll be same time. We'll announce it on Discord. There'll be a link to it in the coaching site as well. Yeah, so any other questions? Can you see any other questions? Here's one.
I saw a few actually.
Right. Okay. So let's go back. I understand that, you know, when we're online, there's a lot to be distracted by. So probably people haven't seen the whole thing. Let's go back to this part. Choose 3 elements that are fun and fast for you to make, which are the most important for your style of music. Choose 3 instruments which are quickest for you to use each musical element, right? So you don't exactly use the same. I mean, you can use the same thing if you've realized in using those things that they work for you, right? But how are you going to find the things that are the best for you? By trying lots of things that aren't the best for you. How are you going to make the best ideas? By making lots of ideas which aren't the best ideas. It's the same process. There's a pattern here, guys. Can you see that? There's a pattern. Right? It's like, be okay with not getting the right thing, because there isn't a right thing. There's always a better thing. And also, how you find the right thing is by doing lots of things which aren't the right thing. Yeah. So yeah, you do change your template just to three parts. Yeah. Based upon what you can work quickest at. Okay. Can you see any other questions, Luke?
Somebody asked if I had found my uniqueness.
So we're still I'm still coaching you. We're doing we're actually developing a Zoom workshop, aren't we? A little Zoom workshop about one of the things that we talk about over here at Make Music Life, which is paths, which is like a roadmap for kind of how music works, really. And so we're developing a workshop, and in the course of doing that, I'm basically coaching you through this thing, and you're making music as Luke Sipka, as a solo artist, because a lot of the music that you've done is as a duo, which is still going, but you're doing it as Luke Sipka. This is what you're engaged in right now, isn't it? So where are you at with that, Luke?
I'm still like splurging and trying different things and seeing and you know, listening, looking for new music, looking at my old music and trying to just experiment with mixing different things together and different styles to see where I want to land with that and what I want it to be. And it's still in the experimental phase, but just finishing stuff that I can then look back at later and kind of be like, what was I going for here? And what was I thinking here? Because like I know you've said in the past, sometimes you have to finish something and get some distance from it to really understand it or learn from it. So right now I'm just trying to finish stuff with a vague direction to then come back to later and say, or even, you know, immediately after. But I have, you know, a uniqueness direction I'm working on. What was the original question?
Yeah, have you found your style?
And I don't know if I ever, I don't know if I will. I think if you look at some of the greats, it's kind of like they get a style, they do it, and then it totally iterates, throughout their lives. It's like, look at like Bowie or
Well, exactly.
Beethoven.
So, I mean, I think the question assumes that you land at a place. So I don't think I've found my style. I am in the process of finding it and always will be. It's the horizon. It's always moving away from you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, to somebody listening to someone else, let's take it away from us because it's kind of more difficult to talk about us. But, if you listen to, I don't know, Prince, for instance, I can guarantee that he wasn't satisfied, or he didn't think that he didn't think that what he was doing was great. I can guarantee that because you just don't. Yeah, it's like to other people, it was just like legendary, amazing, for me. But you don't ever get there, right? You constantly iterating, you're constantly moving forward. There isn't a there. I mean, there's just what's next. I mean, so for instance, I'm having the sort of the most the hot streak of my life so far, literally of my life. And one of the things that I'm concerned about is where do I go next? Because I know it's not going to last. I know at some point it's going to, and I don't want to be negative about it and create a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's like comfort is the enemy, because comfort leads to complacency. Complacency leads to boredom. Boredom leads to the death of the creative process.
Yeah, and I've like landed on styles before, and then like a week later, I'm like, let's try something different. It's like you kind of like get to a point, and then that's when to like change it up and try something different.
Exactly. Okay, so Robin says, thanks, Mike. So it's quality of ideas we are looking at. No, I mean, it's kind of quality of everything. I mean, we're just disengaging from quality, I think. And the reason you might have detected a little frustration, Robin, is that what I've noticed is that and I do appreciate your questions, and also when we do Momentum Monday, so please understand that. But what I have noticed is that there is a frame that you have, which is there's always a but. Now that's the it's not so much frustration, is that what I would like you to notice is how often you say but, not to me, but just in general, because I can guarantee that by noticing the number of times you say but about what you see out there, if you can kind of disengage from that and instead replace it with the word and, you actually your creative process will improve. Yeah, because often those who are the worst sort of critics of other, I mean, it's not that you're being a critic of me, but I'm just saying in general, when you butt other people, you tend to butt yourself. Yeah, you need to get off your butt and start to get on your and. Yeah, so that's why you may well have detected frustration. It's really because I want you to succeed, and it's like, yeah, but this, yeah, but that, yeah, but the other. Let's just leave the buts alone for now and just think and in relation to this specific thing, I still think you might be missing it. Okay, it's not that we're not focused on the quality of ideas, but we are focused on the quality of the tools. No, we are not focused on the quality of anything at all when we are in the creative process. But we do think about the quality of everything when we are out of the creative process. That is the distinction I think you're missing. Yeah, it's that when you're in it, you're doing it with what you have, full stop. And you can do amazing music with anything, with a dustbin lid. That is the frame, full stop. No buts. That is the truth. It's the most realistic thing I know. You can make great music with anything, under any circumstances. Even if it isn't true, believe it. Just pretend you believe it, okay? But we don't, and we don't think about focus on quality when we are creating, but we do apply our judgments, our thoughts, our what's wrong with this, our what could I do to improve out of the creative process. We make changes. We think about what we could do differently. And in the creative process, we let go of quality again. So it's not that quality control is gone completely. It's just that we are using our quality control at the appropriate time. So hopefully that has cleared it up for you. And sorry if you detected a little frustration there. It's sometimes it's like I care so much about your success that I get a bit right, and that's all it is. So let's have a look. Are there any? Oh, there was another one. What was it? I like that. Told my spouse I was going to go work on Splurge and got a weird look, but no argument. There was another one. Where was it? It was a good one as well. It was something. I think is today day 9. I can't remember. Anyway, it's 9. No, I think today is day 8. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, 3 days from now we're doing the day 11 thing. Unfortunately, Robin left, so he didn't see. Oh. Muff. Do we export as one audio file for the 30 minutes or each splurge individually? I export each splurge individually. Definitely export each splurge individually. Okay. Supramundo. As I'm not such a good player, I have to take a totally different approach, which also takes more time, obviously. Go and see Dead Mouse producing and tell me it takes more time. Oh, there. Sound design doesn't seem compatible with splurging. Would you do this at a different stage? No, you can splurge sound design as well. Splurging isn't about, and thank you for the question, Jean-Pierre. It's a very good one. Sound design, you can take a splurge mindset with anything. In fact, Luke, why don't you take this one? I've been talking for a long time now. So.
For a splurge mindset, yeah, I mean, you can do it. You can do it with like any part of the creative process.
What
like
was I
if
just
you
doing?
open
What was I just doing when I was
designing a sound? Yeah, designing. You were turning knobs, but you just weren't. Yeah, you're not like wondering like, is this good? You're just You're just like changing the sound, and then going forward, versus like opening the filter and being like, is this isn't good, and then closing it, and then trying 8 different combinations. You're just doing one, and oftentimes like your instinct for the sound, you'll develop it where it's like you can just make a few tweaks and it's exactly what it's supposed to be. And I mean, like, I guess it is tricky because sound design to one man is something totally different than it is to another.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sound. So it depends on what you mean by sound design. If you're a sound designer whose job is to make a particular type of sound, I mean, you still could do it with a splurgy mindset. Actually, you really could, because splurge is more of an approach than anything else. But it would be harder to do that in a splurgy way. But if by sound design you mean creating sounds which work in your music, if you want to be a creator, not that sound designers aren't creators, by the way, but like if you want to be an artist, a music artist, then the sort of design, like I have this thought in my head and I need to make it come out the speakers. That's what I would call the design mindset. And you don't have to use that design mindset to do sound design. Yeah? You can take a splurgy approach and use discovery, which is, it's interesting actually. I read a book called, what was it called? Creative Selection by Ken Kosienda, inside Apple's design process. Something like that anyway. Ken Kosienda. Great book. Ken Kosienda is I think that's how you say his name. Ken Kosienda is the guy who, he was the lead for the keyboard on the iPhone, which was a huge design challenge. How do you get a keyboard that works on a touchscreen, which is this small, right? Huge design challenge. And he and his team and the people working at Apple solved it. And the reason I read that book was in order for me to challenge the ideas that I had around discovery, this kind of insight that I'd had around discovery, because I was expecting to read from Apple, which is like one of the kind of, it's like a temple of design thinking. Yeah. They even use the word perfection all the time, which is very kind of the antithesis of the way I think about things. So I was reading it in order to be challenged, in order to see where I was wrong. And you know what I realized in reading that book, because he was talking about literally how they made that Apple, the iPhone keyboard. What I realized was that they were using discovery and design just like the way that I describe it. So it is possible to do sound design splurgily. And of course, just with like everything, you do use a design mindset as well. You do both. Yeah. But if you think that sound design has to be, I've got this idea and it's not going to be, then there's a whole world of there's a whole different way of doing it, just like there is in the creative process. Sound design is another stage of the creative process. It's a microcosm of the creative process in itself. You can do like mixing, right? So mix engineers. Recently, I read a few books about mixing in order to see kind of the frame, around it. And then one of the books I read, where this guy, what was it called? Zen and the Art of Mixing or something. I can't remember. Anyway, and he talks about his mix process. And do you know what the first thing he does is? He splurges a mix. Right? Yeah, it's like it's not possible to splurge in this. No, it's an approach. It's a way of being in the process of noticing how your quality judgment is holding you back. Okay, so it's possible to do everything with a splurging mindset, and then later judging the quality of what you've done, deciding what to do, and then going and splurging again. Fantastic. Here we go. David, wonderful to hear from you. Thank you for this. I'm a user experience designer. We use creative workshops and methodologies to produce strategies almost the exact same way splurges work. You create an environment where ideas bubble up. There you go. From the horse's mouth. Sorry to call you a horse, David. But thank you. Yeah, I was absolutely amazed when I realized that, that the sort of bastion of design actually use discovery as a fundamental part of their process. Fantastic. So, yeah, that's true as well. Colin, yeah, read what was the book about Pixar again? I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway. Creative, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, that book by
Creativity Inc.
Creativity Inc. Yes, again, they have versions of kind of splurging going on there. Another good example, a musical one. Check out Timbaland's Masterclass. Have you seen that, Luke?
I've seen the preview and I think I got it pretty quick.
Yeah, so there's like at the very start of it, he basically creates this beat with his mouth. By like sort of beatboxing thing. That's an example of splurge in action, like 100% splurging. Deadmau5's Masterclass. Watch him. It's so funny with those things. It's like how to write a melody, and then it goes like this, like on the keyboard because he doesn't play the piano keyboard like that. And it's like So what did you do there exactly? But the point is, what you can see him doing is splurging. He's not really too focused on the quality in any moment. He's just going, yeah. Again, it's one of those things that people who are the best actually do all the time. It's already existing. I've just shown you how to do it, right? So
most people,
sorry?
Yeah, it's like most people, I feel like a lot of beginners are afraid to make something bad. Whereas like the pros like aren't, because they know that eventually they'll come across something good.
Yeah, exactly. Disengage from the need to be good, and you will be good eventually. Fantastic. Well, on that edifying note, don't forget that the next session, 15th of January, is the listening session. Then we've got another one on the, I think it's the 17th of January. Yeah, but this is the next session. Why the way that you listen is as important as how you make the music, how to win the race against boredom and keep the vibe alive on a track for as long as it needs, the 3 distinct approaches you must take to make the best music you can, and when and how to take them. And also, I will tell you how you're going to send your ideas in so that we can verify you've actually completed the challenge, because we will start judging your entries. And by the way, we're not judging your music. We'll be judging the questions you're answering after you submit your music, right? So we will be judging them as of next week. The closing of submissions is midnight Sunday Pacific time. But I will tell you how to send those. When it gets to day 11. Okay. So it's been wonderful as ever to hang out. We really did miss Arash, the wonderful Arash, but he will be back no doubt for the next one. I'm going to go and get ready for my Splurge performance over on my Mike Monday daily channel. So if you want to see that, click the link in the description. Have fun. Go as fast as you possibly can. Come on, what you got to lose? You got nothing to lose, right? So, let's do this. Have a bit of that. And until next time, 3 days from now, onwards and upwards.